There we go. So, welcome to Transit Talk, Human Design Transits, real talk in real time. I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jess. We meet up about every 6 days to explore the current human design transits and how they're actually showing up in our lives. And we'd love for you to join us.
We're talking energy in the moment, what we're feeling, what we're noticing, and sometimes what we're wearing, and what the transits are stirring up inside us and all around us.
So, whether you're joining us live or listening later or on YouTube, we're glad you're here.
Right. Let's get into it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so today we have a new rhythm for this day where we are talking about the transit. Oh, great, I'm frozen.
It's okay.
Lovely.
We can hear you. We can hear you. We're good.
Okay. So interesting. There's something going on with my Wi-Fi, and this is maybe part of the problem. I have a feeling I need to fix that. Anyway, I'm still frozen, so that's lovely. Okay. Today the sun has moved into gate 5, which happened around 2 o'clock this morning. And I was up almost that late actually. Um, because that is my fixed rhythm and fixed patterns, fixed rhythms, is what this gate is known as in traditional human design. In the I Ching, it's known as waiting.
Mhm.
And in quantum human design, I believe it's called consistency. Yes. So we're doing something really inconsistent today. But
Yeah.
I'm representing the fixed rhythms and patterns energy of gate 5
Mhm.
and this waiting. And I really was contemplating how this energy is so, this is going to drive me nuts. I have to not look at myself because I keep freezing up. Um, but that's what this rhythm is about. It's this time of year where everything is meant to kind of slow down naturally, including my Wi-Fi. Um,
You just went dark too.
I know, I see that, right? So we're just in such a lovely expression.
I love
So
it.
I'm going to just look out my window to be inspired by nature, which is what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Maybe if I turn my camera off and back on. There we go. So we did this gate last time, or this transit when it was the inverse, right? In what it would have been June, where I also represented gate 5, and I was outside representing nature, and it was summer, and everything was starting to bloom, and you were off on a new adventure or whatever. But so this time, I'm really thinking about this way that nature is naturally asking us to slow down. But
Mhm.
everything in society is pushing so much against that, including, but my Wi-Fi is cooperating. It wants me to slow down too.
Things slow
Um,
down.
yeah, so I would love to switch Wi-Fis, but I know that will lose us. So I don't know what we're going to do here. We're just going to
We're
keep,
gonna
yeah.
make it. We're gonna go on an
Okay.
adventure,
So
make it work.
I was listening to the Gene Keys, Richard Rudd's contemplation of Gate 5, and I did not
Well, do
realize,
we want to do what
wait,
the
oh,
Earth is?
I want to tell you my reason for doing it for this.
Ah,
That's
perfect.
related to it. And I realized that his purpose is gate 5. And
Oh.
it was so, and so I was really inspired by Richard to put on my little cardigan, even though mine don't look like his little English cardigans, and to kind of slow down. And if you've ever watched Richard on his talks, he often does his little tea ceremony. So I am having my tea and I am going to just kind of be in the stillness of
Mhm.
this. Oops, and I dripped hibiscus tea on my white rug. That's fun.
Oy.
Um, because that's the kind of tea I have made. So I'm pouring my tea and I'm slowing down after this crazy, chaotic week where the world tried to tell us all we had to do was all we were supposed to do was shop and cook and and travel and do all these things. And if you look outside, at least here in the northern hemisphere, the world is saying, quiet, settle down. So that's what I'm doing.
Yes,
That
I
was a
love that.
long explanation of my representation, but
I
chat.
love it. I love it. You were set to the rhythm and you were going.
Okay.
Yes. So today I'm representing the earth energy, which is gate 35. And so I decided to do a pirate. Aha. And exactly what you were saying, though. It's so beautiful to see the difference when the sun energy is that 35 and that change and that progress is like that driving force, right? That sun energy versus the grounding energy. So right now we're grounding, so we're feeling that fixed rhythm right now in the transit, but the grounding energy here is this adventure. And so for me, when I thought about this gate, there's like a restlessness to it, right? And it made me think
Mhm.
about, when you watch the movies and you see all the pirates with like they've got their leg up and they're sitting there and they're like picking their nails with like the sword. There's this restlessness for them for this new adventure, this new experience. Like, let's go find the treasure. Let's go on this new adventure. It's never the same one, it's this new experience. So today I'm representing the 35 as a pirate. Oh,
Awesome.
frozen.
So I'm frozen again. Okay. So, dang it. There we go. This is an adventure. So, our first time streaming live on YouTube, of course, is when this is going to all go astray. But it's all what it is. So, anyway, so we're going to talk about this energy because this is a doozy of a week, and we would love to get into some of the meat of this now that we're done just explaining our motivations. But I really would love for you to share your cute little yellow graphic with all of the stuff, right? Because we have, ooh, there we go. Okay. Um, we have this fixed rhythms waiting energy. And I love how every time we go through these transits and I write the transit report, and yesterday, if you'll recall, Jess, I was like, I'm just going to write a simple transit report because I'm all about simplify, right? And then I started to look at the energy and I was like, oh, who am I kidding? This week is absolutely not a week that I can not get into the meat of it because there's so much energy. But I think it's so fitting that it's all happening during this transit of fixed rhythms, waiting, consistency, and how the shadow of impatience is meant to become the gift of patience that we are looking for. So if you want to go through the hexagrams for us and stuff.
Absolutely. So sun energy again, gate 5, fixed rhythms, waiting. So when we're looking here, we've got gate 5 on this end. And then on the other side, we've got that mirror, that 35 down here. And so our hexagram we have right now is actually water over heaven.
Right?
And so we've got the movement in the gene keys, the progression from that impatience to patience to that timelessness. And we're still in that quarter of mutation, which is purpose fulfilled through transformation. And then on the other end, we have the 35. And so this is coming from the throat. So we've got the gate 5 over here with that sacral energy, right? That energized gate 5. 35, change, progress. And the hexagram we're looking at over here, we've got that fire. We've got that fire energy, that burning energy over earth. And the progression here in the gene keys is from hunger. And so this is almost like an insatiable hunger, right? So like it's like you eat something and it's like for a momentary, it's like, okay, it feeds that, but then you're hungry again and knowing and not getting stuck in that hunger of always like, what's next, what's next, what's next, right? And then going to that adventure, to that experience, to have those experiences. And then moving that goes into boundlessness. And gate 35 down here is in the quarter of civilization, which is your purpose fulfilled through form. And really interesting, well, we have this up right here to see. So we've got gate 16, which we just moved out of. And we didn't do the transit talks for this last one, but that gate 16, which is the gate of skills. And then last time for the representation for that one, I did the ballerina, right? Because the energy here is that energy of that repetitive. right? It's like, what is the skill that you're honing in? What is the thing that you're doing and you're becoming that expert, that you're doing the same thing and learning and growing with it? Versus on the other side here, we've got that mirror of the 35, which is also about gaining those skills, but it's that skill of experience. It's not necessarily to do the same thing over and over again. And Ra talked about this. If you have like a somebody playing an instrument on the 16, you've got someone who's playing that same instrument over and over and over, and they become that expert at it. Versus the 35 energy on that other side of the throat is that energy of like, I'm going to try the violin, and then I'm going to try the tuba, and then I'm going to try the drums, I'm going to try this, to have that experience and say, oh, well, the violin, if you hold it like this, or it doesn't feel good on your neck, or just to have all like multitude of experiences in that 35. And
Yeah, and go ahead.
mhm. And I was going to say, so for the 35 there, the verbiage is that I feel, right? And there's this like, I feel like change. There's so often that pull for change, that pull for adventure, that pull for that experience.
Yeah. So this gate five energy, going back to that a little bit, I loved what you said about gate 35. Um, we explored these 6 months ago, and I don't have any of these gates defined in my chart right now. And I feel like the 35-36 has been such a huge lesson of sorts. Like it's a channel that we just keep, oh, here we have the 35-36 again. Here we have the 35-36 again.
Yes.
Because we've got Saturn in gate 36, and I think we had Neptune there not that long ago. Um, and so we keep going in and out, right? Of this energy of transitoriness, this desire for change. But we've had Pluto grounding us in this gate 60 energy. And maybe I wonder if you might want to switch to the graphic. Do you have the full
Mm-hmm.
transit graphic for us?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Because we've got gate Pluto in gate 60 right now, which is in the root center. And it's this um, I'm sorry, it's in the sacral center off of the root center. And it's this energy of, thank you, we'll keep sharing so it's not so obvious that I keep freezing up. Um, so we've got this gate. Apparently, it's saying on YouTube that my bandwidth or something is not adequate, which feels like the story of my life, right? My bandwidth is not adequate. Um, so we'll have to get that fixed next time. I'll have to talk to my husband, who's the IT guy. Um, but so we've got this energy with this channel of transitoriness between the solar plexus and the throat that's really calling us for change and new experiences, emotional experience. And remember, this is manifesting energy, but it's manifesting in a wave. And now we've got this energy with gate 5 on the sacral, which in the I Ching is about waiting. And so here we've got this emotional manifesting energy. This is where the full moon is about to be, guys. The full moon is going to be in gate 35 tomorrow. But we've got the sun in gate 5 waiting. And I loved listening to Ra talk about gate 5 and specifically gate 5 line 1 he was talking about, which I know the moon will be not in line 1, but he's talking about how when you have this fixed pattern, this gate 5 energy is not about finding, like having an awareness that you need to make a pattern. This is about really feeling into, it's on the sacral, feeling into your body's natural rhythms, right? What is your fixed rhythm? Are you somebody he talks about who takes a nap every day at 4 o'clock? He even gives an example that if you are that person and the fire alarm goes off in your high-rise building you live in, that you might just like sleep through it or choose to not to ignore it because your rhythm is so fixed. And I might say that that might be a little extreme, but I guess you could honor your sacral if it says don't get up, right? It might know that it's really just a hoax or it's somebody who started a tiny little fire in their sink or something. But it's this real honoring of the fixed pattern, not necessarily or not at all creating the structure, which so much of society says, okay, what are these atomic habits and all these things? And they'll tell you what your habits and patterns should be. And we can really get caught up in that. Right now, we have all this defined ajna energy through this individual 4323. If you'll notice on here, we've got the 4323 coming from the ajna to the throat, which is known as what? What's our favorite thing to call that? We all,
Genius freak.
right? Because
Yeah.
if it is coming from our own desire to talk about it, we're often going to be perceived as a freak.
Hmm.
But when it's invited, when it's people are asking your opinions and your thoughts, then it's genius. Otherwise, it's for you. It's stuff you don't necessarily let out and share. So there's so much in this energy right now that's calling us to trust, right? And then when we trust and we come from a place of clarity and recognition, whether you're a projector or a generator or whatever, there's still that recognition needed in that 20 43 23 energy. So, and then, so I started to say in the beginning about Pluto right now is in gate 60, this gate of limitations, right? And it's going to move like less than 24 hours after the full moon. It's going to move into this gate 41 energy of um, imagination, the whole contraction to expand, right? It's like if you think about when you want to jump, what do you do before you jump? You
Ooh.
tighten up, you pull down, right? And then you
Yeah.
boom.
Hmm.
And that's what we're getting ready to do as a collective. So it's pretty exciting, terrifying. The full moon is also exactly square the nodes. So if you look in astrology terms, that's a square is something people understand. But if you just think about it, they basically form an exact cross. The sun, the moon, and the nodes form an exact cross. And if you even just intuitively, you can tell that's a turning point, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
So it's a lot.
absolutely. I
It's a
feel that with
lot.
my incarnation cross, my four ways. Which is
Yeah.
about pivoting. Yeah. So when you have those pieces that are exactly in out, that energy, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So if you think about a full moon in gate 35,
mm-hmm,
think about that change. So
mm-hmm.
full moon is what are we letting go of?
Yeah.
It's a year of the snake.
Mm.
This year is the year of the snake, and we're shedding our skins multiple times. So if you think you've shed your skin for the final time, think again. This week is going to be another shedding of the skin so that we can really look because we're
Arr.
off running. Next year is year of the fire horse. So, and it's a number one year in numerology. This year was number 9. So next year is beginnings. And so we are going to really, with this full moon energy, this crossing of with the nodes, looking at what are we taking with us? Who are we taking with us?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Feel
Marion
that.
says, I'm doing massive decluttering. And yeah, that's a lot of it. And a lot of it is really feeling into, am I honoring my own natural rhythms? I have felt a lot of this in the last few days we didn't do a transit talk last week with the energy in gate 9, but I really felt very focused on um, where am I putting my energy? I don't
Mhm.
know if you felt that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very
Yeah.
deeply. Oh, you were doing so great. You weren't freezing when I was sharing. Now you're frozen. It's a very cute pose, though. It's a very pensive.
Right.
Love
So
it.
we will definitely have to find out what's going on with my Wi-Fi for the next time. But and also I got to figure out why I can't stream. I'm gonna have to do we're gonna have to play with some tests in the
Yes.
group to see why it's not streaming in the group when I stream on YouTube. But I'm wondering if anybody in the comments has been feeling anything. We've got a few people here watching with us. I know a couple of people have commented, but it looks like there's some other people watching too. And if you're new to us, welcome. I am Kathy Bashanko, and Jess and I do these every 6 days, basically, like we said in the beginning. So I'm going to try to get these scheduled out so people can kind of see when to show up. And this is part of us finding our new rhythm with these transit talks because in the past, what we were doing is we were live streaming these into the Intuitive Human Design Facebook group. And then I would take the recording and I would edit it like I felt like I was supposed to do and do all the stuff and then upload it to YouTube.
Mhm.
And that was taking a lot of time because I was feeling this need to cut out all the goofy stuff that's happened before, try to fix the times when it froze. And honestly, what I've realized is I don't know about you, but I'm sick of all the perfection that AI is bringing everything. It feels like nothing is real anymore. And if you
Mhm.
can't tell this is real, then this is life. This is reality of life.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it this way for a while and see how that goes. And it hopefully will be a little less um, this is part of my Simplify in 2025. It might seem like I'm adding something more, but it's actually taking away several hours of work that I was doing after the transits, because now all I'll do afterwards is upload a cute little thumbnail and maybe trim off a little bit at the beginning of the waiting, although who knows? I think
And
that
yeah, I love that too, because that's a really important part with the fixed rhythms. Gate five, just because you have a rhythm, just because you have a way of doing something, doesn't mean it's an empowered one. So during this activation, especially looking at and noticing, like, what are my patterns? What are my routines? And are they supportive to exactly what you were saying is like simplify? I want to simplify. How do I do that? Especially again with that 35 change. Let's change it. Right now we're on YouTube, right? Such a big change, a grand adventure. We're cutting away. This feels like Kali energy, right? Like we're cutting away the extra nonsense and really coming back to that place of like what feels correct, as especially we're starting to get to that closeout energy, right? As we're going to be closing out the energy for the year.
yeah, absolutely. So, and remember, I know you remember, but everyone else, the the calendar year is going to end on December 31st, but
Mhm.
the human design new year will go into like the third week of January. And so this really is a time period that I feel really is starting to begin now, but the very first couple of weeks in January are a continuation of that closing out of this energy in human design terms. If you look at the messages of the gates, it really helps us. And actually, that's how you and I started doing these transit talks because last year, for those of you who don't know, Jess invited me to do, what did we call it? What did you call it?
Human Design New Year workshop.
Okay. So it was a thing where we went through the transits
Mhm.
um, as they changed. We did each one as it changed from between the new year, the calendar new year, hi, no, I'm frozen as a high, like that. Calendar new year to the human design new year. And we loved it so much we didn't want to stop. And it has morphed into transit talks. And then we decided to do all these things. And we've tried a lot of different
Mm.
things throughout the time. And hopefully, as we navigate the way to, oh, Angelique says she finally found us. Yay. So
Ah.
sorry if this has been confusing to anybody. Um, but it's change, right? We're grounded in the change. And
Mhm.
so hopefully we are finding a rhythm that is sustainable that we can keep doing. It's
Mhm.
also interesting for me to ponder this energy because this is, if any of you ever have looked at your dream rave or it's like your sleep chart.
Mhm.
It's a specific nuanced chart in human design. Um, your design date is in when you're sleeping is done by the moon instead of the sun. So it's 88 degrees of the moon prior to your birth instead of the sun as far as and so there's this whole thing where certain things change. There's also certain gates that aren't in there without getting too into the weeds. The one gate that I have in that chart that I don't have in my waking chart is gate 5. And it means something completely different in the dream rave. But Ra has said that if we have a gate that's defined in our dream rave, that's not defined in our waking chart, that it can be a huge source of conditioning for us. And so um, I've often pondered how that is conditioning me. And part of me thinks it's because I don't want to get out of bed.
I don't have that in mind, and I don't want to get out of bed in the morning.
Oh, this morning I really didn't want to get out of bed. And I was like, you have started this new rhythm. I am actually exercising again. And I
Mhm.
was like, you need to get up and so that you can do your exercises and
Mhm.
all the things you need to do before this transit talk.
Yeah.
And I did them, but barely, just barely got them in. So
Hey, you
uh,
did it. You did it.
good.
Celebrating
Yeah,
that.
awesome.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah. The energy of this right now really feels like this permission to change. You know how people talk about, like, okay, you've made your bed. This is the thing. When did this come untied?
Oh, I don't know.
It's changing on me. So that permission to change, where, so often it's like, oh, you made your bed, you have to lie in it, or you started this activity, you need to finish it, or we had this really beautiful, open, honest conversation between the two of us where it was like, how do the transit talks feel for you? What's showing up for you? What feels good? What doesn't feel good? Are we continuing to do these? What are the things? And we came to this place of like, we love doing them, but like, let's be honest, you were like, I don't, all the editing, it's taking forever for all this editing. And we're like, for what? We want to show up as like all parts of us and all the messiness, right? And if that's your thing, amazing, join us. But if you're looking for something more polished, maybe it's not your thing, and that's okay, right? What
Yeah,
feels best for us? And then for
yeah,
me too, to go through and be like, okay, I'm going to organize, like, what are these things? And giving ourselves that permission to change, because it would have been so sad to let go of this and go, this feels like too much. And so often we do things and they feel like so much and they feel like so heavy, but it's not because it's the actual thing. It's all the like preconceived notions of like, I've started it this way and it has to continue this way. I can't make those changes. So for us to be able to have this energy, this like playfulness of like, okay, let's try it. Let's do it a different way. What feels better? Because I know for both of us, like, it's fun. Dressing up is fun. Feeling the energy is fun. Like tuning into what it is. And like every time I feel like I learn a little bit more about it and
yeah,
understand it in a different way. And so
yeah.
yeah, so to have that permission to change, to not let go of something that's so beautiful because of feeling like we have to do it the same way or the way that it's happening. So, I'd love to like invite everybody out there to look at like, where in your life right now does something feel like you're like, yeah, I want it, but this feels like too much right now. Is there a way to change it? Or maybe it is letting go of that thing, right? Maybe it is going, okay, this isn't the thing anymore. And it was funny because we were talking about the 2026 words, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. And I'm so excited. And I was like, I know what my word is. It's no. My word's going to be no, because so often we take on so many things. So starting to look at like, what are those things? Yeah.
Is that your word?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yes. Yes.
Just check it with your sacral.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Okay. So,
yes.
it's interesting too when I was reflecting on this, because you were like, well, do you want to skip the transit report? And I was like, no, I love writing the transit report because it really brings everything to focus for me. And
Yeah.
then when I wrote it, I was like, oh, yeah, this was so good to write. I actually sent it out in an email too. So instead of just sharing it in the group. So I feel like I'm like multi-purposing things because I know a lot of people are moving away from Facebook, and I love our group, and I really invite people to go there if they want to have a conversation about this. You can certainly do it here in the YouTube comments, but I want to also invite people into the Intuitive Human Design group space if you would like to talk about there. And starting, I will figure out how to get back in there, I guess, if we're meant to. But when I was thinking about this channel 515, right, which this gate 5 is one half of it, it's the sacral half, and the 15 is on the identity center. This is the one channel that's consistent with all living things. And and this channel is like, if you had to describe this channel in one word, um, I think it's flow.
Mm,
And it's this, there was and I'm blanking on her name right now, so I'm sorry. And if I remember, I'll go in and I'll put it in the description later, this video. There was a woman who um she hasn't been active since she had her baby, but she used to be very active in the Facebook group, and she shared a video where she talks about this as like a dance. And if you think of the 5:15 as like a dance, like if you, like we've all seen that person who maybe they have rhythm, but all they do is this to the beat, right?
yeah.
Right. It's boring as all hell. And then if you've ever watched Seinfeld and you've seen the Elaine dance where she's like, right, I'm waiting for me to freeze in one of those positions, right? It's really extreme and it's a lot,
Yeah.
but a good dancer does have the rhythm, but then they have some sort of spontaneous things. But what happens so many times, this is true for me, I get in a routine and I have a defined will, I have that willpower, and I start saying, and I'm going to get up at this time, I'm going to journal, I'm going to do, my morning pages, like, from the artist's way or whatever. I love doing that brain dump, getting all that out of my head. I'm going to do my gratitude journal at night. I'm going to do blah 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 blah, and I figure out this whole rhythm of what my ideal day is going to be like. And then something extreme happens one day and I don't get to it. And then I go, well, I guess I can't do it. Right? It's so easy to, or maybe you move past it a day or two, but then life has this way of saying, really? Are you sure? Are you sure? Isn't that a little too much to try to do every day? Especially this time of year. If you notice nature, the only channel in all living things is 5:15. But look at nature. Nature has these patterns, but it also has extremes.
Mhm.
It has really extremes in the patterns. But then it gets back to its patterns, and it recovers because the patterns are not the extremes. Well, they can be. I mean, you have the extreme cold to the extreme, whatever. So, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. And this time of year feels like a lot of pressure for me at times. And I
Mhm.
think other people might, I think a lot of people absolutely love every single thing about the holiday season and they just go all out, and that's awesome for them. But for a lot of people, it reminds them of the people who aren't here this holiday,
Mhm.
or the money that they don't have this holiday,
Mhm.
or it just feels like a conflict. Like one of the things that I'm always very conflicted about is these outdoor lights. My neighborhood goes all out, and I love lights. They're very pretty. But there's also a part of me that knows about light pollution, knows how much it disrupts a lot of things. And then I'm always like, oh, what do I do? And I've tried to find, not, I don't need to go extremes, but I also, so I don't know. But it's just, it can be a lot of pressure to keep up with the Joneses kind of thing, like,
Mhm.
oh, wow. Sonia used to come home and be like, oh, it's the Bashanko House of Darkness, because I worked retail and it would be Black Friday weekend. I'd be exhausted and everybody had put up all their lights, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can be pressure at this time of
Mhm.
year, but nature, if you notice, nature is very quiet this time of year.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And
I've
that
really,
just
even though I don't like the cold, I've been enjoying going outside for a walk in the stillness right now more than ever.
the stillness, absolutely. And that reminds me of that Mulan quote, right? Where I don't remember exactly what it is, but where Mulan's dad says to her, like, the flower that blooms the latest is the most beautiful. Like, you bloom in your own time, basically, is the essence of it,
Mm,
right? And allowing that to happen naturally and just exactly where you are right
yeah,
now, that it is perfect. And what I found was really helpful, what we did over Thanksgiving is that it was both. I wrote with the kids, I was like, what are we thankful for? Like, what are all of the amazing things in our life right now that we're just so thankful for? And what are the things we'd like to change?
Yeah.
and then finding out like what are the actual aspects of that. So it gets to be both because it's like really enjoying and loving this time of year, and that it is this time where you kind of can go into like a little bit of hibernation, depending, right? But
Right.
there's also like, what are the things? It's that closing energy that we're starting to feel that pull towards of like, what are the things I would like to change for the future?
Yeah.
And, looking at both of those, and that it gets to be both. So it's, I can simultaneously be like really thankful and go, and I would like this to be different, and be like, the holidays are amazing and I love this time of year. And sometimes I really hate it. Sometimes, like doing some of the things, it's a lot, right? And
Yeah.
then also for me, I found letting go of that expectation, and I found that myself, like the pressure I put on myself to do the things of what I thought it needed to be versus what actually needed to be there and where those important beautiful moments are. So starting to reflect and look at that. And again, the energy right now, I feel that permission to change. What would make this a more joyous holiday? I was speaking to someone and they're like, I haven't done Christmas for years. It just gets too stressful with the family, and it gets too stressful. And it's like, that's like the antithesis of what Christmas is supposed to be, right?
Mhm.
And so allowing that change to happen, and finding those new rhythms that support it, and finding
Yeah, and
yourself a
it's
person
okay
that,
to say no to Christmas if that's
yeah,
what feels right,
yeah,
and if other people in your life are saying, I think that's one of the big things to remember as we go into this energy of this full moon
mhm,
and and this shift in Pluto, moving the next day, because we're already
mhm,
feeling that. But
yeah,
this idea of, okay, what if something's feeling hard right now? Where's the gift in that?
yeah,
Where's the gift in recognizing that this is feeling hard?
yeah,
And sometimes the gift, maybe you realize it's hard because you've been ignoring it and it needs attention,
mhm,
right? Like my exercising is hard because I've been ignoring it and needs attention.
mhm,
Other times you realize something is hard because it's trying to ask you, why are you still doing this? Right?
mhm,
Why are you still talking to this person who consistently makes you feel bad?
mhm,
Right?
yeah,
Why are you giving more than you're receiving in this relationship again and again and again?
yeah.
So,
Yeah. And also just want to add as well, I would love for people to share, if you would like, maybe some changes that might make this holiday season a little bit more joyous for you. And whether that's Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever it is that you celebrate, what is that? And let us know, like maybe a little shift. And so giving yourself that permission, and then maybe that can help someone else as well. Like, how do I start to make that change? Because one of the biggest things I found was my friend Phaedra, who is just like so pivotal in my life, and she has the gate 5 as well, which is so helpful to
ah,
like, yeah, she's my 5. But so many things where she was doing things differently, and seeing her do it in that way helped me go, oh wait, I don't have to do this. And then I stepped back and I was like, this is ridiculous. Why did I feel like I had to do this? And that was like for birthday parties. She was like, oh, I'm just not going to that kid's birthday party. We're just not doing this one. And I was like, what? And this was like a whole new concept for me. This was a couple years ago, but just that realization by like seeing other people doing that. So if anybody would like to share, we'd love to hear like, what are the changes, or maybe changes you've made in the past that have helped to make it a bit more joyous during
yeah.
the season? Yeah.
And if you're watching this later, which I'm sure people will be doing, you can share in the comments and we'll be checking back here to
Yeah.
see what's going on. I know I will be back here and I'm sure Jess will be as well. But um, I just wanted to say, let us know what you think of this new format. Because if you're watching this on YouTube and you've watched in the past, you'll see this is a little messier. It doesn't have some of the stuff. And it is what it is, and this is how we intend to move forward with it from now on,
Yeah.
for at least, until we decide to do differently. And on that note, Okay, so Marion says, I am choosing of being of service to my family this year. I totally don't care about Christmas shenanigans, but it means so much to my dad. Yeah, sometimes so she says, I usually don't see them, but this year I'm going to visit them. Well, that's nice. Yeah,
Love
sometimes
that.
we do things
Yeah.
for what's important to other people in our lives, and that is part of, being in relationship with people. And as long as we aren't the one always making the sacrifices, right?
Mhm.
And that it's recognized. But um, I think I'm going to wrap it up, and hopefully we will figure out the bugs so we can continue to do this into the Facebook group as well. But, share in the comments anything that you want to talk about. And if you have any closing notes you want to share, Jess? No,
Permission to change.
right?
Yeah.
So now okay, here we go. So I'm gonna stop the stream. So peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Where's my
Where's my balloons?
I'm noticing my balloons don't only like it when I use this hand. Watch.
Oh. Ah. Ah.
Okay,
Okay.
whatever. No balloons either.
No
So
balloons
Mercury
today.
retrograde is still in its shadow phase for me, clearly. Okay. All right. Bye. Thanks, Marion.
Bye.
I keep trying to